Good morning. Welcome to Sunday Sundays. We're missing Miss Savvy Scoop today, but she'll be with us next time. So today we just want to do some random talk, random conversation. We actually each picked a topic that we actually haven't seen. We randomly drew some topics. So we're just going to go around the table as we're sitting here together, enjoying each other's company. We are also enjoying a drink from our favorite bartender, Miss Lena. So we do have our cups here that Aaron had purchased for us. They have our names on them. And so we have some topics and we have not seen the topics. So we will be sharing those with you. So we're going to start with Minu. She's going to go ahead and read the first topics that she has not seen, and then we're just going to discuss it. So Minu, you go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. So the topic I got is, what does success looks like for you? Good question. Well, to me, success is not about getting a promotion or having a mind-blowing job. For me, success is all about balance. Balance in every aspect of your life. Balance in your relationships, balance in your thoughts, balance in who you are. To me, success is all rounded. It should resonate with your true value, having success in relationships, having some purpose in life. That's success to me. What is your take on it, Shannon?
I'm going to have to agree with you. Some people define success as financial success, and I think for me, I am working towards spiritual success right now. I want to get grounded in my spirituality. I want to get grounded in getting closer to God and having Him take the lead in my life. And so I think we can have different successes in our life. And maybe some people might be like just trying to get through college. That's their success. And then their next successful goal will be maybe a career. I think we have different goals and different successes as we mature in age, or maybe we have an overall goal. But for me right now, my success and my goal is to just get closer in my faith and focus on that, to be a better person, to be a better friend, and to be a better wife, to be a better daughter.
Well, you said it beautifully. Success has different dimensions to it. It is emotional, physical, financial, spiritual, all aspects. To me, it is not what you materialistically achieved, but it is, did it align with who you actually are? Is it holistic? That's success. What do you think, Carolina?
I would have to piggyback on what both of you are saying, because I do think that success comes from our creator. We all make our own plans or have a vision for our lives and what we think it's supposed to be, but God has another plan. So everyone knows that long-standing joke of, you make a plan and God says, ha. For me, I would say success is being in relationship, being in community, having loving relationships, valuable relationships, relationships where we honor each other, respect each other, love each other, and don't have any expectations. When we go into a relationship with a certain expectation and that expectation is not met, maybe see setbacks or failures or difficulties. And again, when we're led in love, love equals God. When we're led by God, when we're led by our creator, our belief system, that is when we see the most success. So for me, yes, success for me is loving, lasting, community-filled relationships.
I love that you said what you mentioned about expectations. It's so easy, and I quickly, easily fall into this, having expectations, and I know better. I know better not to have expectations. So I love what you said about, just not having expectations.
And not having expectations doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't allow yourself to feel loved, or you shouldn't have a value or a standard of those relationships and the people that you want to be with, because what we surround ourselves in can easily be what we become, or And sometimes we fall into relationships where we want to save somebody or we want to change them. And I do this often with my children, where I see a path for them. I know what I want for them, and I see how they can be successful, but that may not be God's path for them. And so what are we supposed to do? And I take this to confession all the time. It's like, well, are you praying for them, or are you just trying to tell them what to do? And the right thing to do is, right, to pray for them, because it's not our vision that's necessarily the right one.
When you talk about that, it makes me think of that shifting of when they're little, keeping them safe. That's your focus. And so you can direct them and kind of guide them to where you want them to go. And as the kids get older now, it's more of a coaching role, where you're giving them some input, even when they don't want it sometimes, but in such a different way. Such a different way. And then it's hard not to have expectations of what that outcome is going to be. We have a conversation.
That's something that Savvy says a lot. When my kids were transitioning from teenagehood to adulthood, she's like, Shannon, we are advisors now. It was very hard, and it still is hard, especially when they don't want to be advised. Sometimes they don't always want to be advised. So I know we're kind of getting off track. I'm getting off track, but yeah.
So successfully, in parenting, success in parenting, you want your kids to be happy, healthy humans, that's the goal, right? And living their purpose. And yeah, to your point though, Carolina, it's like, who am I to say sometimes what that path is, what I think it should be for them, because you're right, there is oftentimes a bigger plan, the higher power,
Mm-hmm.
and for us control freaks.
Surrender.
I'll chime in on success. I think I just internally burped. I don't know. It's a good thing that there's delete. So as I, of course, the minute you read the card, I started to think, oh my gosh, what does it mean? Oh, the pressure. But I think success to me is how I feel at the end of the day. When I sit down, get ready for bed, what do I think about my life at that particular point in time? I think I have fallen into the traps of success, meaning, you have the certain job and the certain vehicle, the certain home, the certain bank account, the, ability to do things. I think to that end, for me, success is about having a certain kind of liberty to live the life that I want to live. And so I think some of those standard things that we believe come along with success, again, the money, the money. Okay. I think a lot of us grow up thinking that success is a certain amount of money to do the things that you want to do. And so to me, I definitely do think that my definition of success has some of that in it. But even if I had a ton of money and doing exactly what I want to do every single day, when I go to bed at night, I want to be able to have a sense of peace that I'm doing this life in a way that is fulfilling for me and is maybe also a little bit at least contributive to society as a whole. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm certainly not out there changing people's lives every single day, but I think we have opportunities in every single day to make some type of an impact, whether it's saying hello to someone, making eye contact, letting the guy who's tailgating you, get around you, buying coffee for the person behind you, whatever. So living a contributive life doesn't have to be like we become nuns or we become priests or we give it all up to give it all away. But if I can make the tiniest bit, if I can create even the tiniest bit of good in my day, then I feel good. I feel good about the way that my life is evolving. And so that's how I've learned to define success. All right, so my card. Choose 5 words to describe my possible future that I don't dare to imagine. That's a really good one. Do you want me to read it again?
Please
5
read it again.
words to describe your possible future that you don't dare to imagine. Do we need some time? All right, I'm gonna take a stab at it. I'm gonna say, and this is kind of 2 words. I'm gonna say a lot, and I can come back to that. I'm gonna say Mexico. I'm gonna say Italy. I'm gonna say stage. And what I ultimately aim for every single day in my life is peace. Peace in my heart, peace in my soul. Thank you, Jason Mraz. So I'll give you guys some time to think about your adjectives. But last year, so I turned 51 this year. Last year I turned 50, obviously. And we should have brought this up at our birthday episode, but all of these girls came to my birthday, except for Savvy. Because she actually wasn't, she was like on the outskirts of our tribe at that time. Anyhow, so as I was turning 50, I was just doing a lot of reflecting on my life. And I had been reading this book, just a novel, Alice Hoffman. And in one of the books I was reading, one of the characters talked about, or somebody, I think it was like a character's birthday, and they were like, oh, live a little. And the character was like, what? I want to live a lot. And that sentence really spoke to me. So that's why I say a lot, because that's how I want to live my life. I don't want to live a little. I want to live a lot. I mentioned Mexico and Italy because I want my life, as much as I love my life where it is. I don't see like retirement and things that come next necessarily happening just in one place. I love Mexico. I love Italy. I said stage, right? Well, maybe I'll keep that one to myself, but I think the ladies around the table might have an idea what I mean when I say stage. And then peace, because that's going back to success. That's how I define success, is how do I feel at the end of the day? And I want to have a sense of peace each and every day.
I'll go next. So 5 words that I see in my future, I would say, are joy, home, parents. I just had them, you guys. I had all 5, I swear. Why can't I think of the word? Ministering and surrender. You guys are going to hear me say that word a lot. That's like my favorite word. Who's next?
I'll go next. The 5 words that come to my mind. Number 1 is fearless. I want to be fearless in my thoughts, in my environment. Then is family. I want to be close to my family, not just emotionally, but physically as well. The 3rd is I want to be influential. I want to all the women out there that we can do it. If you have it in your mind, you can do it. The next one would be resilient. Never give up. There's always hope and possibilities. And the last one is to be happy. No matter what, find faith and joy and happiness within yourself. What about you, Erin?
One of, family is everything to me, and so that's a phrase, but there's one. Because I think we can, work a lot, and but in the end, it's the relationships. It's all about the relationships, and that's probably what we're going to be thinking about when we leave this place, So I think joy. Also, I want this life to be joyous and really get back to where we focus on the things that were created for us, not everything that we have to create. Laughter, another one that links up with joy. just had so much fun yesterday laughing with you all, and just serious belly laughs where my stomach hurts.
Wah, 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 wah.
So we did some karaoke last night, and Shannon
And my
chose Laura
interpretation.
Branigan's song.
You remember it.
Paula must have me muted because I can't unmute.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, it was Laura Branigan's Self Control. And that's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, what else? I think faith. I think this year, I feel like the forces, there are, forces that are, the yin and yang of the universe. And I feel like, faith is being tested sometimes, in terms of your strength and what we think we're capable of, and realizing, we're even capable of more than we thought. But man, I feel like those forces there's testing right now, and learning about faith, growing deeper in that, like Shannon's been talking about, I think that's something, to kind of circle back around to some, of that. I don't know how many I rattled off, but those are my words for today.
Well, thank you, Erin.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard for me to just pinpoint 5, but I also chose faith. And faith has been a big thing for me lately. Faith and gratitude. I kind of put those two together. But just taking a leap of faith. Recently, I asked someone to take a leap of faith with me, and they chose not to. And that's okay, because I'm going to take a leap of faith by myself. I don't need anybody to do it with me. So I'm going to continue to do that in the next 5 years. Another one that I chose is serenity, which is not the same for me as peace. It's serenity and just enjoying, finding serenity. So whether that's Colorado, Alabama, finding serenity, and it's not dependent on who is in my life. I can find serenity also in myself and my surroundings, and love. And like, I have an abundance of love around me, but I want love in a partnership. And I mean in a partnership, with my higher power. And my 4th word is builder. I want to build, whether that's physically building my dream home, or like we've talked about, buying land and cultivating land together as a group, or just building each other up. But somewhere in there, I want to build. And then my 5th word is free. And I love my job, but I don't want to work for the man. I would like to be free, and be free that if I'm needed, I can go. If I'm needed anywhere, if I am needed, if I myself need something, I can go somewhere. If I want to go to Italy, if I want to go to Mexico, I can be like, you know what? Shannon needs this time. I need time for me. And my serenity is being called into the Amalfi Coast in Italy. I can go, So my words were free, builder, love, serenity, and faith. Those are my words. So I think the next one is no, I think it's Lena's. Yeah. So let's respond to her topic. I'm gonna go ahead and.
All right. Let's see what my question is. I'm up next. In 25 years, what are you going to remember most about me from this period in my life? Oh, you guys all get to think about me while I just have to rattle off. All right. I'm just going to go in the circle. In 25 years, what am I going to think about Paula in this period of my life? I'm going to think about you getting us started, because where are we going to be in 25 years with this podcast? And where would we be had we not started this? Would the 6 of us have been together 2-3 times now in the last year? That's definitely where I will think of in 25 years about you. Minu, in 25 years, I will be thinking, I'm so glad that you found love in yourself and with someone else, and know how to receive and give beautifully and truly and freely and purely in the way that you deserve. Shannon, in 25 years, I will be thinking, damn, we're still friends. Woo woo! Look at us going strong.
Right? Yes.
No, I will be thinking seriously, like, what a blessing that we met so long ago, even before I had my third child. And here I am on my fourth. And probably by then, I will have grandkids that will know your grandkids. And our families are just going to continue to grow no matter where we are, whether you are in Alabama, Colorado, Mexico, Italy. If I'm in Denver, Inglewood, Broomfield, Aurora. I don't see me
Florida,
ever
maybe
leaving
Florida.
Colorado. I don't think we'll ever leave Colorado. Aaron, in 25 years, I will be, gosh, I wish I had a different thing to say too, other than the same feelings that I have for Shannon. Because in 25 years, I'm just going to be like, look at us going strong, be another 25 more, whether it is, at that point, spiritually. I just see us continuing to grow spiritually together more, praying together, going to mass together more, and just being a part of our grandkids' baptisms and first communion. And who knows, one of my kids going into faith life, and I just see you all, of course, you will all be there. I just see a lot of growth continuing on, and me being grateful for that with all of you. A lot of gratitude is what I will definitely look back on. All right, go ahead, Erin.
Wait. Hold on. I wanna talk about what I see in 25 years too. Hold on real quick. I see in 25 years, and I'm just gonna say this collectively, that in 25 years, I see us all together still with our husbands, all of us, watching our grandchildren, and some cases our great grandchildren, because some of us have grandchildren right now, and they are going to be in their 30s, because my oldest grandchild is already 7. I might even have great grandchildren. And we're going to be talking about grandkids going to school, great grandchildren being born. And we're going to have these conversations over a big table like this with our husbands next to us, still laughing, still having Lena as a bartender, still with our cups, still having Savvy Scoop in her sunglasses at the table. That's what I see in 25 years, still enjoying laugh and love with every single one of us, with partnerships and love. That's what I see.
And food that we've grown.
Food that we've grown on the land that we have cultivated ourselves. Amen. Yes. Anybody else want to chime in on Lena's card before we go on?
I just think that I just want to echo everything that you all said, because I do think that too. We have over 20 years into this circle of friendship already. But there's time, that there is invested time in the circle of friends. So I don't see that changing. I'll be 75, you guys. I'm the oldest of the group. I'll be 75 in 25 years, and I intend to still be going. But yeah, absolutely. Looking back, not necessarily just on Carolina and who read the card, but on all of us, I definitely think that we will still be maintaining contact and supporting each other and scooping each other up and loving on each other. So awesome question.
I see us traveling around the globe together. Yes.
With our walker in tow. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to have a walker.
No, still with your high heels? Yes.
Of course. Absolutely. That's a great vision.
Yes.
All right, Erin, let's flip yours over and see what you got.
Mine. It says, describe the last time you saw something magical. So this is, the first thing that comes to my mind is my mom had an eye surgery recently, and I had to drive her to and from her appointment. And she was so nervous about this before having the surgery, and she's a little bit older, so she was just nervous about several things about it. And so we pulled up to her house and we were listening to some music, and it was a song that she totally loves, like some Motown song. I don't remember what it was, but I know what it was. It was one of the songs in Dirty Dancing. It'll come to me. But anyway, so we're in the car. A little bit longer? Yes.
Stay Just a little bit longer.
So she just stopped me and she's like, let's dance. And so we were singing and dancing, and it really was magical with my mom, because it was just a moment where the world stopped spinning and we were just there, and she totally was ready for her procedure, after that. So yeah, it was a cool moment with my mom.
I love those. Those moments are so precious. Amazing. What about you, Mina? What is your magical moment that you can recall?
I just experienced the magical moment last night when I was fearless, expressing myself in an inhibited state and being me. And it was fantastic to be just me. Nobody's mother, nobody's daughter, nobody's friends, just me.
Well, you have to give the Sunday audience a little more context about what you were doing last night.
Well, I think my friends would know better.
She's referencing karaoke. She did
Yes.
a very nice rendition of the Titanic song by Celine Dion. Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On. She did a
100%.
very interpretive dance version, and it was very lovely. We all thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And what about you, Carolina?
I was trying to think about something. Magical moments. I just always feel like every moment I'm so grateful. I'm in like the presence of God and presence of goodness, and I try to just take it all in. But for some reason, my magical moments, just like you, Erin, kind of come down to music, because it can bring up like so much nostalgia and feeling and excitement and like emotion of like what you were feeling in that moment. And Erin and I, my husband and I, recently went to a concert on 16th Street Mall, and it was outdoors and it was all ages. So here we are at this EDM concert with like some 16-year-olds, some 47-year-olds, like my husband and I, some people even elderly than us. And everybody is just dancing, and the energy and like the buildings were just like feeling the bass. And it was like, and the music was just incredible. That was definitely magical. It's just beautiful when people can come together through music and have a good time and just be free.
What about you, Paula?
So going last is always good because you get some time to think about those magical moments. So there's a few that come up for me. So I don't know if it was earlier in this podcast or a previous podcast, we talked about, noticing people, and responding to them. If you see that there's like a need. So Carolina's kids, she's got 4, and I love them just as much as I love my own daughter. And I remember moments like when I saw them, like if you understand what that means, not just like I saw them, I saw who they were. And the one that just like popped up for me when I was thinking about it, one of my nieces, she's kind of quiet. She might, like, if you don't know her, you might think she's a little bit meek. And this was several years ago. And all of Carolina's kids are athletes. And my niece was playing basketball, and I had never seen her play basketball. And I swear I must have been like, because I had never seen her. I thought that I knew who she was from the interactions that I have with her. But to see her out on the court, like, and jumping and moving and blocking and just going for it, like, I literally felt like my jaw was hitting the floor. Those moments when you see someone, it's like breathtaking. Like, it stops you for a second. And I've had that experience, with her other kids. And this one goes back to many, many years ago. Her oldest was probably 2 when she showed me who she was. It's hysterical. So sometimes I would babysit my sister's kids, and she had a van, she had the mom van. So like if I was coming to watch her kids, it was always easier for me to just keep her car because they already had the car seats. And so she took my car for whatever she was doing. And I remember getting her 2, at that time there was just 2, getting them in the car because we were going to go run an errand or whatever. And so it's a sunny day, and I just grabbed her sunglasses that were in the car and I put them on. And my little niece is in the back and she's watching me. They're always watching. She's like, those are my mommies. And I said, oh, yeah, yeah. Well, we're sisters. We share. And she goes, that's okay. And then she's like, I don't like to share.
That's funny.
I'll never forget. That was like 18 years ago, 17 years ago. But she showed me who she was. So I love those moments, those magical moments where if you're paying attention, you're learning a lot. And then I'll share one more. This is about my own daughter. So my daughter's 30 and she's engaged and she has a wonderful, wonderful partner. And they were at our house. And so they were staying in the guest bedroom across from me and my husband's. I woke up one day and I could just hear her and her fiance just laughing, just talking and laughing and giggling. And it was a magical moment. It just warmed my heart. It just brought tears to my eyes to see her, and not like physically see her, but to see her and her partner like in such sync, that they wake up laughing and enjoying each other's company and talking and just being in love. And as a mom, I mean, what more do we want for our kids, right? So that was a magical moment, just to hear her joy, to know that she has so much happiness in her life. That was a truly magical moment for me.
Wow. Thanks, Paula. I will say I have a couple of magical moments last couple of years, but I want to really just share one. About a year ago, my daughter gave birth to her second daughter. And I've been present at both of those births, both of my granddaughters' births. But the second one there was a lot less people. And I was actually coming from Paula's 50th birthday party in New Mexico. First, I had extended my stay because Paula was like, I really hate that you guys are leaving. So I extended my stay. And then my daughter calls me and she's like, I'm going into labor. So I had to get on a flight back early. And I actually made it to the hospital right on time to Denver. So, but here's what was so magical and I'm going to say powerful about this moment for me. My daughter gave birth to a little girl. And they were all women in that delivery room. There were 2 nurses. The doctor was a woman. And I just felt the power of women in that room. And I know ideally the situation could have been for my daughter, she would have wanted it a little bit differently, but I felt so much power in that room for the women that were there and the woman that this little baby that she was giving birth to that will eventually be a woman and be a powerful woman herself. And that moment most recently, because this little girl is now a year old, that for me was a magical moment. And I'm so grateful, blessed, thankful that I was there to be there for that moment. Yeah, absolutely. I love that we all have daughters here and that, we can probably understand what that's like to be there during that time, even though I'm the only one at this table whose daughter has given birth right now. I've had my kids really young, but it was a very powerful moment. It was a very magical moment. And I'll never forget that. It was beautiful.
I have to share another one that just popped into my mind.
Polly, you have another one. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because now I'm thinking about all the magical moments I've experienced with all of you. Shannon, you weren't with us, but several years ago, these ladies, Carolina, Aaron, yes, it was Carolina and Aaron, another one of our friends and myself, and they came to Santa Fe to see me. And we did a bunch of things, but we went to the spa. Mm-hmm. It's called 10,000 Waves. Shout out to 10,000 Waves in Santa Fe. They have an outdoor pool. So the 4 of us were sitting in the outdoor pool and it started to rain. And it was a very light rain. It was a sunny day. And we're with a bunch of people. Do you guys remember this? And then yes, all of a sudden there's a rainbow, a beautiful rainbow. And we were the 4 of us sitting there and we were just like.
And it's like time stood still. Because it wasn't just us in the pool at that time. There was several people and everybody just kind of turned. And it was just this moment of like stillness and beauty. It just, yeah. I totally remember that.
I
Yeah.
do too.
I
Yeah.
have a
And it
list, you
was
guys,
warm
of like
out with the
happy
rain,
moments.
so it wasn't cold. It was more like a warm temperature, so it was a
Yeah.
warm rain and just all unusual circumstances.
I love that.
Hopefully that, yes.
I have a list of things that make me happy that, and I think would encourage all of you to do this, like to write down moments that bring you like little sparks of joy, little sparks of magic like that. Things that you can like quickly, it's on my phone, like quickly turn to when you're having a bad day and like life just sucks. To have this list of magical moments or happy moments. And so on that same realm, another one that came up to me was when we were all with Savvy and all of us at Pagosa Springs a few months ago. One of the things that I've learned in the last few years is to try to teach our body what real stress is. And maybe it's like the trendy thing to do now, but cold plunging. So we were at Pagosa Springs, it's a hot springs town. So we're at the main hot springs where it's right next to the river. And I was like, oh, it's a perfect time to cold plunge. And none of these girls wanted to go with me. They were all scared. Does anybody else want to tell the story?
No, go ahead.
You go
So,
ahead, Paula. It's a good one.
so I'm trying to convince them to come into the cold water, and everybody's like, why? And I said, well, one of the primary reasons to do it is because we all have such busy, stressful lives, and it's good to actually teach your body what is actual stress. Like, what is a stressful situation for your body? Like, giving birth is a stressful situation, an injury. But the day-to-day stuff, maybe it's not so stressful. It kind of goes along the lines of don't sweat the small stuff. So the idea behind cold plunging, one of the ideas, is to teach your body how to cope with stressful situations. And so I'm trying to convey this to them. And so they finally decided to give it a try.
And Tanisha was like, no, why? Why would you do this? I don't understand why you guys are doing this.
But the first one to come in was Shannon. So I'm like, come on, Shannon. She's like, all right, come on. And she's just like slowly, very slowly coming in. And I'm like, breathe, because it's about breathing. That's the other thing that this, stressful response teaches your body is that if you can control your breath, you can really handle a lot more than you think you can. So she came in a little bit at a time, until she was like fully immersed in this cold water. And then they all came. The rest of them, they came slowly. But you're right, Savvy was fighting it hard. But at the end of the day, we were all in the water except for Erin because she had an injury. Do you want to chime in, Erin?
Oh yeah, I had a fractured kneecap, so I had this awesome leg brace, but I get to watch all of this from the sidelines, and it was really beautiful to see all my friends over there just loving on each other in that way because Tanisha thought we were all insane. And why do you get in the cold water? Why? I just could see her just stand there like, why? Their hands.
Why would you torment? This is what is she? I'm gonna let her tell her part of this story because it might not sound right coming from me.
It was really cool to watch. And then we did have a moment, in one of the other pools afterwards too. It's a really cool experience to be out there with each other.
All right, we have one more card. This one says, "Describe to me a piece of art that made you cry." Oh, I don't know if this made me cry, but this put me in awe, just in an awe state. When I was younger, I lived in Italy and I was very defiant. I didn't want to go anywhere. I wanted to hang out with my friends. I didn't want to go anywhere. And my dad was like, we're going to explore this country. We're going to explore Europe. Anyway, I didn't want to go into this museum one time. And I just was like, I don't want to go in this museum. Well, I sat outside the museum and then I think I was talking to my mama, Julia, and we needed to find my dad. So I went in through the exit of this museum to find my dad. And I went in through this museum and I came upon the statue of David. And I'm 15 or 16 years old. And I look at this statue and I literally stop in my tracks and stare at this magnificent statue. And I am in awe. And at that age, as stubborn and as rebellious as I was completely moved by this massive statue, how it was created and chiseled into such perfection I just stood there. I don't even know if I found my dad because I don't know what happened after that. But the statue of David was my first piece of art that I saw that I was speechless. I couldn't move. Yeah, that's my story when it comes to art. I saw the Mona Lisa once and I don't know what the hype is, but statue of David, yeah, absolutely. Minu, what about you?
That's okay. For me, the first piece of art that actually did catch my attention was my faith in God, and how we idolize. So one of the idols that my mom worship that she introduced me to is of a woman sitting on a lion. And I looked at that, and my mother told me what God it is and what is the story behind. And what fascinated me is that we women have so much of inbuilt strength in us that we don't know. What she wanted to say is that we wear multiple hats, and if we get in one of our those modes, we can even control a lion and a tiger, which is a fearless animal which nobody can. It's only with the power of how you carry your demeanor, and it shows through your eyes and your body, you can control an animal also, and being fearless. So that stood apart for me. What about you, Paula?
Oh my goodness. So I'm probably going to have to piggyback on Shannon's David story because when Carolina turned 40, she and I took a trip to Italy and we went to the academy, the Accademia in Florence, and I think we both had that very same reaction. It's literally like you're just in such awe. First of all, it's huge. But the same thought, like, and I always think, how? Because I have no artistic ability at all. So to think that somebody could create such a magnificent piece of artwork from marble. And there's also another one that equally took away my breath, and this one's in Naples. It's called the Veil Christ, and it's Christ. It's supposed to be, after he's been entombed, covered with a veil. Exact same reaction. And then the last one that, and maybe I don't know if I hope I'm not going to take yours, Carolina, but also an experience. Do you have the same one to share about Rome? Okay, so I'll let my sister share that one, but same reaction.
Are you talking about the Pieta by Michelangelo? So yeah, Paula takes me to Rome for my 40th birthday, and that's definitely one of my most grateful moments is to have had that experience, because again, something that I wouldn't have done for myself. There's no one else I would have rather do it with. But the Pieta by Michelangelo is Mary and Jesus after the crucifixion. It is where after Jesus dies on the cross and his mother is there after they've removed him, and she's just holding his lifeless body. And it's just such a depiction of sacrifice and giving everything that you have, your child, your begotten son from God, to the greater good of the world. We walked into the church and it was just to the right. And I remember holding on to my sister, like I hooked her arm, and all of a sudden I literally, my body was just weightless and I fell to the ground and just started bawling at the foot of this statue. It was just the most incredible piece of art that I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know that anything has ever touched me or could ever touch me in that way. Beautiful, beautiful piece of artwork.
Definitely one of my life's greatest joys is to be able to travel and to have these experiences and see things up close like that. And yeah, to be able to have done that with my sister on her 40th birthday. That was definitely a lifetime memory.
Magical moment.
I actually can't. I've seen so many beautiful pieces of art, and when I think about that, in particular, I remember going to the Frida Kahlo show here in Denver a few years ago, and just seeing her artwork and the vibrant colors and you can see her spirit through all of her work. It's really beautiful stuff. But so when I think of artwork, that's what's come to mind for me right now. But I've had those kinds of moments in nature, honestly, like God's canvas out there of just sitting in a place where you're just in awe of what has been created and you're just able to be present there, and everything around you stops spinning and you can just enjoy the space that you're in. So I love those moments, when you're out for a hike or there's not a lot of other living things around like people. So that's what comes to mind for me.
That reminds me, last year when I was in the Amalfi Coast on our balcony, I woke up real early in the morning, and I have a video of this, and I recorded the beach and the town. But what I picked up later, and I didn't realize later until I watched a video, was a conversation. And it wasn't people, it was the roosters, it was the chickens, it was the birds.
I feel like you sent that video.
You did
sent
send
that
it
to all of
all
us.
of us.
Yes.
It was probably like one of the early Sunday Sundays, right?
Yes, and that was living visual audio art. And I had always wanted to go to the Amalfi Coast, and what a blessing to go there and see God's artwork. And we have it all around us. I send you guys videos probably far too often from my backyard. And all there is trees. There's just trees back there. That's all there is. But I love it. There's just trees. And I love trees. I love the green. I love it. It's
the sound of the rain. I love when you send those, the sound of the rain. That's awesome.
I send too
So
many
beautiful.
videos of the rain, and I take video in slow motion of the rain. One thing I like to do is sit on my front porch, and the rain will come in slowly. You can hear it on the trees, and then slowly it comes on the rooftops to the houses, and then it hits the street, and then it hits my porch. And I absolutely love it. It is I really like that visual, Erin. Thank you for reminding us of the beautiful artwork that's just right next to us. We don't have to go anywhere to see it. Thank you for joining us this Sunday Sundae as we just pick some random topics to discuss. And next time, we hope that Sabby will join us. Join us next time. Happy Sunday Sundae.